Bob Thornton.
Hey.
Hey, Billy Bob, it's Sam Rubin to your right. Oh, wave at you. There you are. How are you?
Hey.
Congratulations to you.
Thanks, man.
You said something very interesting on stage, and I'm going to just paraphrase you. Something about how it was difficult to stand up for people or some remark. What were you talking about?
Oh, I said it's easy to talk about people. It's hard to stick your neck out. And I guess my point about that is that a lot of people in the entertainment business get called privileged and, you know, things like that. And yet, a lot of people, you know, I came out here in poverty and spent, you know, a decade trying to eat. And so those kind of things get to you. And so at the end of the day, what separates people who come to these award shows and who do television shows or movies or whatever it is, or write a score, they're people who are willing to take a chance. And maybe it was safer to work at the factory back home, but if you wanted to make something out of yourself, you're willing to go and take the chance. And so when people, in this day of the social media, and when people are slamming each other left and right, what they have to remember at the end of the day is, you know, those who talk about those who do things, really, that's not a very good job, you know. And that's why when the legitimate press, you know, like I've known you for years, and when you write a review or when you talk about something on your TV show, it comes from a place of knowledge as opposed to a place of hatred or jealousy or whatever it is, you know. And I think we're living in that society right now. So I let it bother me for a few years, and now when I accept an award, I accept it with pride because I know I tried.
Okay, over here, Billy Bob. Congratulations.
Thank
I have a
you.
couple of questions from the Facebook fans of the Golden Globes. The first one is, who are you most excited to see tonight?
Who was I most excited to see tonight? Well, let's see. I was excited to see my wife being happy. Yeah. I mean, she's happy every day, but I mean, tonight she's just proud to be here with me and everything. But in terms of like celebrities, I was very excited to see Warren Beatty, you know, because he's one of the guys that I admired growing up.
And the other one is, what drew you to this particular character?
I'd always wanted to play a lawyer because I think lawyers and actors have the same job. A lawyer is trying to convince a jury and an actor is trying to convince an audience. And I did it in The Judge with Robert Downey and Duvall, but it was kind of a big cameo, you know, it wasn't really a full part, you know. And I'd always wanted to play a lawyer for a period of time, but mainly I wanted to play a guy who was trying to fight his way back from nowhere, you know, and I've had to do that a few times. So I kind of related to the character. You're certainly welcome, honey. Right. Yep. All righty. Hey, that's quite a pole you got there.
Billy Bob, you had talked on set that it was one of the best crews that you'd ever worked with.
Yes.
And you recognized your PA. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I know you were rushed, or you don't have a lot of time to
Sure.
on the stage.
Yes, it was a very, very good crew on Goliath. There were people who enjoyed being there every day, and they got who the actors were and related to us in that way. Luke Scott was a kid who was only 23 years old and passed away last year. And Luke made me want to come to work. He was the guy who, when I got there, I knew that his face was, it was such a joyous face, and he was so happy just to be there and have that job and be around a business that he wanted to be around. And, you know, to lose your life at 23 years old when you're just starting something like that, I thought, you know, I could thank people all night long. I can thank lawyers and agents and everybody. But at the end of the day, the two entities that I have to thank are Luke Scott, this PA that made me happy to be there, and Amazon, who was willing to do this show. Amazon is a company that was very kind to us and allowed us to be what we wanted to be, and in fact encouraged us to be more than what was there. And those are the only two people. But if I thank them publicly, then I need to thank every lawyer. You know what I mean? And that takes up a lot of time. So I figure if I have to pick one out of two, I'd pick the kid who's not with us anymore. Yeah. Hey. Hi, Jeannie.
How are you?
How are you, honey?
Well, you must feel very appreciated tonight for the great performances and the great work you've done and the risks you've taken. How would you say luck or blessings fit in with all of that, in addition to the chances you've taken and, how good your work is?
Well, in terms of luck and all that, I've always kind of left it up to Providence in a way, because really, if Fred Roos hadn't seen me in the theater, back in the early 80s, I'd be nowhere. But then again, if this unemployed actor who I met named Don Blakely hadn't met me 3 or 4 years before that, I would have never been in that theater where Fred Roos saw me. So people say, was Sling Blade the turning point, or was One False Move the turning point? And sure, you can say that in a way, but the fact of the matter is if it weren't for Don Blakely, this actor who would feed me when I was starving, and who introduced me to somebody, and who put me into a play, into this little theater group where Fred Roos, a big producer, came and saw me, then none of that would have happened. So you have to really go way, way back, And so I think, as opposed to these defining moments that people usually pin on movies, I think you really have to think more about those people that led you to that moment, So, my hat goes off to Don Blakely, just like it went off to Luke Scott, a PA who made me want to come to work. So I think the little woman and the little man aren't recognized quite enough in the trajectory of someone's career. Thank you.
Hi, Billy, in the center to your slide right. As of now, we have not heard about Goliath's future from Amazon. What have you heard, and what are your hopes for the show going forward?
If I told you, I'd have to kill you. No, it's they would like to do another season. I know that much. This one was written in a way that it had a beginning, a middle, and an end. So that was kind of the intention. But once they see what the potential is, and I honestly believe there's more potential for this show than what was in the first season. I mean, I loved the first season, but I think there's so much more to mine. I think we need to know where this guy came from, and what it is that made him who he is, and what his sense of justice actually is, and what his desires are, and what he does think about these people. And I think another season could unfold that could answer a lot of those questions and lead the audience down a path that's much stranger and much darker. And I know that Amazon, to their credit, wants to do it. And I think it just depends on if they come up with the right story.
Hi.
So in other words, I don't know yet.
Hi, over here. TV2 Norway.
Oh, hi, Emma.
Hi. Congratulations. You're
Thank you.
obviously a very talented actor, but I was wondering, is there some talents that you're not so good at that you wish you were better at?
Absolutely. I'm the worst dancer, maybe in history. I grew up as a musician, as a drummer, so I have a natural sense of rhythm. It's not about that. On the dance floor, I freeze up like you can't imagine. It's incredible. When I was in junior high school, there was a band called the Yardleys in my hometown of Malvern, Arkansas, and they were like the Beatles to us. And they had a dance in the old high school gymnasium, and this senior in high school named Joan Burnett asked me to dance, and her boyfriend, Bucky Griggs, was the drummer in the Yardleys. And she came over and got me by the hand and led me out to the middle of the dance floor because I was friends with her little brother who was in school with me. And I stood there sweating, like my hands are sweating, and I thought I was having a heart attack at 13, and I lost my mind. I didn't know what to do. So when I watch people dance, and I look at the old movies where actors couldn't just be actors, they had to ride horses, shoot guns, dance, sing, everything. I admire those people so much, because now we can just sit in a room in a chair and talk, but they used to have to do everything. I'm so fortunate for that reason, because I just can't dance.
Thank you, Billy.
All right. No, I have a few more things. Sorry. Teasing. Thank you so much.